What's happening? What's happening? You already know what time it is. You either get right or you get left. You're in the birdcage. We're doing a special edition Soul Food Sunday. We passing the plates around just like you do at your grandmama house on Sunday. We're gonna go ahead and bring in fans today. But before we bring you guys in, go ahead and hit that like and that subscribe button for us so we can continue to keep bringing you the content that we're bringing you. So until without further ado, you in the birdcage, Soul Food Edition. Sunday style. Let's go.
Okay, y'all, this is it.
Welcome back to the cage. You know how we get down. You either get right or you get left. So, without further ado, I got to go ahead and bring in some of the magnificent birdcage crew. But we're gonna have this thing open for fans today because we got a special guest coming in Thursday that you don't want to miss. But we want to be able to hear what you have to say today. So, what we're doing is we're gonna go ahead and pass these plates of soul food Falcon information for you guys today, so you can chop it up with us just like you would do for Sunday dinner, man. So without further ado, we got K Dub in the building, and we got Coach Cam. What's happening, brothers? Pass the hot sauce, the sweet tea, and the Falcons info. Let's get it.
Hey, what it is, what it do. Good to be in the building tonight.
With everyone, uh, all my listeners, subscribers, and followers of the Birdcage. If you haven't hit that like, share, subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend that we're seeing the Birdcage is getting ready to get into. Let's go.
Yes, sir. So what's going on, Coach Cam?
It ain't much, man. Let's get to it.
Yes, sir. Let's get to it, fellas. So the first piece of business that we're going to talk about today, the Falcons have reached out to Calais Campbell today. Now, we've been sitting here talking about this for the longest or whatnot. And just to let the subscribers know, we posted the StreamYard link in Facebook and also on YouTube and also on X. So if you want to come in here and chop it up with us for a little bit, you can. We're not going to be on here all day, but we definitely want you guys to come in here and holler at us. But getting back to it, they finally are reaching out to Calais Campbell, and the wisdom, knowledge of the game that he had was very invaluable. And him coming back to this team at this point in juncture with pretty much with Jerry Gregg in and having the type of offense that we're going to possibly have this year gives us a better chance to give him another shot at the playoffs. How do you guys feel about him coming in? I'm gonna let K Dub go first, and then Coach Cam, you're gonna jump on it.
Well, I mean, he will lead our team in sacks, so I believe he's a key inaugural piece that we're going to need to move forward. I hope he does accept the contract, but I really feel like they're doubling back to try to let him know that we truly want you back. But I think his other offers on the table for him, and I think he's weighing his options. But I pray that he settles with the Falcons, comes back with us. But I must stay hopeful. But I mean, I think we would really benefit from him coming back from a leadership standpoint and him teaching the young guys, the things of, like I said, how to be a pro and basically, learning how to be a better defensive end or a better defensive lineman in that aspect. But like I said, I'm gonna hold out hope. But I believe him and his agent are weighing options because this is gonna probably be his last contract that he's ever going to sign in the NFL, and then I believe he's going into retirement. So he's trying to set himself up financially and his family, with this last contract. That's why it's stalling out and taking a little while. That's what my belief is.
No, KW, absolutely correct. Especially when you're talking about the money. But from a leadership standpoint, if we look at what he did with Zach Harrison last year, and how he came in just ready to go, and he was a consummate professional, even up until the point where he got injured, because you can see just how in intricate his teachings were to the younger guys. Because if you look at Nate Landman, he sat up under Calais Campbell after every defensive possession. He was sitting with him trying to figure out what was the best position for him to be in and what to look for, things of that nature. So when you have someone like that, you don't want to let him out the building. You don't want him to go anywhere else, especially when the Falcons are possibly looking at going all defense this year. You want someone like that, especially when you had him and Bankhead Bates working together. That's a tandem that you do not lose. Um, and we truly don't know if Eddie Goldman is really going to be a part of the team. So it's also kind of like a backup plan, just in case he decides to retire on us for the third time. But when like you said, he was one of the two leading sack guys on our team last year. He was tied for the sack record. So when you see the production that he gave us, that pushing almost 40 years old, that's the one that you want to bring back because now you don't have to have him in for 80 to 90% of the defensive snaps. Now you can kind of rest him and he only has to play 30 or 40 on like a long third or fourth and one. That's when you will want to play him. But, having him there just to develop the other guys that are there, you don't want to lose that. And you want to bring that back. But again, like you said, money talks. And depending on what we're going to offer him, that's going to play a major factor in whether he comes back to Atlanta or if he decides to go elsewhere.
No, I
Yeah.
got you. I got you. Um, when you look at everything that's happened and you look at everything that is going on with this organization at this point in juncture with everything, you have to have a veteran. You have to have a veteran to come back. And with you having a veteran to come back into this locker room, his leadership is invaluable at this point because he's been to playoff games, he's played in AFC championship games, and it's just one of those things where you have to really look at everything that's going on, and we need leadership. Kirk Cousins is not familiar with this locker room. Yeah, he's saying all the right things, but we need leadership at this point. And until you get some leadership and until you get some leadership into this locker room, and you're talking about a guy that has earned that respect, it's still going to be a mess because at the end of the day, you still have to have leadership. And that's in any juncture of whether it's work, whether it's in life or whatnot. It's just one of those things you have to have it.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right with this story. You have to have that. You got to have that leadership in the building. Uh, we got to make sure we got to have that and move forward. Uh, we having some technical difficulties. Listening to the viewers, we're going to try to get that situated. I'm going to leave out and come back in, and I'll be right back because I want to have a great show here.
Yeah, so who's still here with me?
What's up?
Is that better, or are we still echoing?
I think you might still be echoing, bro.
I don't know. I changed earpieces, and when I came back in, I'm not sure.
Hmm, well, hold up. I'm gonna step out real quick. You boys stay back in. I'm gonna try to fix this thing real quick.
All
All
right.
right. So is am I still echoing? I think I hear something.
I can't hear it. So
Oh, you can't hear it.
nah.
Okay, listeners and subscribers out there, do y'all hear it? I'm like, this is crazy. Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave out and come back here. Hey, look, hold him down,
Got you,
Coach
bro.
Cam, because
Got you.
we're trying to get it right.
What's going on, y'all? So as y'all can see, the historian and K Dub are currently having some technical difficulties right now. So we're still going to keep this thing going. We still want to give you guys the best content possible, but we also want you guys to be able to hear us. So we're going to continue to do this for a little bit longer. We're just trying to get everything situated for you guys. So don't think that we're running out on you or nothing like that. So continue to bear with us. Here we go.
Hey man, how about now?
I can hear you.
Hopefully, it's not an echo on this end, but you know, sitting back, in what we're talking about Falcons and whatnot. You know, you look at um, we got the gray one in the building. What's up?
Fellas, BirdCage family, what's going on with y'all, man? Hope y'all
What
enjoying.
up, Great Bit?
Going on, man? Enjoying coming to delicious home cooked soul food that we're displaying to y'all, man. Hey, if you haven't already heard, man, please hit that like and subscribe button, man. It really helps the channel. Greatly, I appreciate y'all coming on this Sunday evening. What's going on with y'all, fellas, man? How y'all weekend going?
I don't know. I was like I said, we Scoop saying his feedback still, but I looked on YouTube. I actually got out of the chat and I didn't really hear anything.
Man, it's still a little bit of feedback. How y'all hear any feedback from my end?
Not at all. Not at all.
Huh.
I have no
Drew
idea.
is
Let me
the
bring K
new
Dub in the building.
WWE champion.
All right, is
Drew
that better?
McIntyre, he won, didn't he?
Drew just won.
Yeah, I kind of figured that was gonna happen.
Hit him with three
Is,
claymores.
God,
Outside of wrestling, no disrespect to it because I respect it. But shout out to Don Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks for
yeah,
getting a
man.
national championship today.
Yeah,
Got to
man.
get a
Yeah,
lady, got to get a lady Gamecock some credit. SEC
yeah, yeah,
love as well.
yeah. They
Hey,
was out there hooping, man.
Don Staley had the best game plan that I wish a lot of other teams would have implemented
that was
because
flawless.
Caitlin Clark has no left hand. Force her to her left. Stop letting her go right. Too many
That
teams did that. Way too many teams let her go right, and she has no left hand whatsoever.
that right there was about a flawless game plan I ever
They
seen.
forced that girl to the left the
The
whole
whole
game.
game.
I mean, she got
Yeah,
her points. Don't get me wrong, but Dawn
she,
Staley, that's the one that you can actually sit and look at and know that this coach watches film
oh,
because the way that she set up her traps and forced her to her left, and they sat on her right hip and her right hand, so she couldn't get shots off. Perfection.
yeah,
I
man,
just
that
believe that they forced it to the right, but I believe that it's just the depth is why they won, man.
yeah,
You're gonna wear Iowa down.
yeah, man, that was depth, but also, man, that game plan that she installed on her, man, was about as flawless you could
No, no,
get.
no, no. I'm not knocking the game plan. I'm not knocking the game plan, but I'm just saying. I mean, you got to think what happened in the fourth quarter. Those freshmen, the
Oh yeah,
depth,
yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the
oh,
depth,
oh yeah,
the
true,
depth.
true, very true.
Because they
But
threw multiple bodies at her.
that
Yeah,
was the other thing. They're throwing multiple bodies at her, and them body shots was coming in, especially in the
yeah.
third quarter. And then that midway through that fourth quarter, it was like, a done deal. But man, what everything it's been pretty good weekend, man. The UFL is just taking off, man. I watched a good game against the Battlehawks. And the Arlington Renegade, that
That was
AJ McCarron don't found the AJ McCarron look like he don't found the fountain of youth out there, man. For
really,
real.
really.
And what's crazy about the whole thing is when you look at and when you look at the UFL, speaking of former Falcons or whatnot, they actually mentioned today, they talked about Vic Beasley being an outstanding player in the UFL.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, he was supposed to be good for us, but we didn't see it.
Look like he
No,
didn't
But
we
found it.
saw it. We saw it.
He
I
just
think
wasn't
what
consistent.
happened with Vic was the changing scheme
he
because you
only had
couldn't put
one
him.
he only had one good year, man.
That's what I'm saying. But in that the next year, what happened? We went to a different scheme and we made him an outside linebacker. He's not an
Hmm.
outside linebacker.
No.
He doesn't have sideline to sideline speed. He can't cover. He's strictly for rushing the passer. That's all he's good for. Plain and simple. You keep him on the line and let him go get the quarterback, he will do that.
True.
Hmm.
I
And
mean the
then
way
and I don't know if you guys got to see this, but Tavondre Sweat was arrested 2 hours ago.
not
Like
again.
literally, I mean, the story posted a little while ago. He had a DWI in Austin.
Yeah,
Had a little too
yeah.
much to drink.
Oh yeah,
Um,
he about to drop.
I mean, but here's the thing though. You got a guy that's got a DWI is what it is at this point. It's nothing you can do about it. He's just got to he's got to take it, get the slap on the wrist because they're gonna give it to him. They're not gonna sit there and hem him up like they would do at Georgia. He's in Texas. So for him, I really feel like there's a lot that's going to happen, and there's going to be a lot that's going to change. Like you said, possibly money wise for him, but I don't think it's really going to be too bad.
He contemplated about $5 million. I'll put it to you like that.
Hmm. I can see that. I can definitely see that. It's about $5 million it cost him. So
Easy. Cause he was projected to be pretty much a mid-second round pick. Now he can easily drop down to damn near a
Third, fourth,
third or
fifth.
fourth round pick. That's about
Yeah,
five.
He,
That's
I
about
mean,
$5 to $8 million right
if
there.
we want to take a little baggage, we can get him. We can get him late.
Oh,
Now you know how Atlanta work, brother.
they
You
don't.
know
They
how
don't
we
want none
work.
of that.
We
They don't want none of
we
that. They don't want none of that.
we don't want baggage in Atlanta.
Nope.
It's not gonna work.
Hey man,
No.
you can get a pretty damn good player to fall to you in the fifth round, fourth, fifth round. So that's what I'm thinking about.
But I think I mean, depending on where he is right in the draft or whatnot, I think we might take a shot on him. I know another team that take a shot on him. Carolina take a shot on him in a heartbeat. New Orleans can take a shot on him in a heartbeat.
mm,
So
Yeah.
Tampa Bay would definitely take a shot on him in a heartbeat. Vita Vea getting up there in age, that right there would be a nightmare. I'm telling you.
that would be a serious problem for us.
Exactly.
That's why we got to jump the gun on those guys and take him because they're definitely gonna look at him because they got to have people to get to the passer like a la Kirk Cousins. We got
But
Kirk Cousins, so they're gonna find guys to go get to him.
yeah, but we understand that, and we all agree Devontae Cook would be a nice addition to the team. But you also got to look at our history. We don't go after problem child type
Nope.
players. We haven't done it since the last person that did that. Unfortunately, one of my favorites, Mike Vick. And since then, we have never went
I mean, he
after
didn't.
anybody with any type of issue, on or off the field. It's not going to happen again.
But when Vic was coming out, he didn't have those issues. They didn't know about
True,
dog fighting when he was coming out.
The last person that
but
I
only
think it
take
was
one.
Asante Samuel. I think that was the last person that we brought in with issues was
D block.
Asante
Yeah,
because he was
part
a
of D
head
block.
case. And
Yeah,
we all
part of
know
D
he was a
block.
head case when we brought him in.
Yep, that's part of D block right there.
We
Yeah.
all knew he was a head case when we brought him in. We knew it.
Dabble Duke is what they used to call
Yeah.
himself. So
So
Well, we want to thank everybody for coming in here that's just joining us, and everyone who actually is just still checking in or whatnot. This is actually an open forum for fans to come in and chop it up with us today because we actually have, as we told you, a guest coming on this week. So we want to hear from the fans today. We want to have you guys to chop it up with us, talk about what you see that's going right, possibly which way to draft possibly could go, things that are going on off the field. We just talked about the South Carolina Gamecock ladies winning the national championship. The Atlanta Braves are off to a hot start. It just sucks that we've lost so far Spencer Strider because of that
Yeah,
UCL injury,
he
that elbow injury or whatnot, straining that ligament. He's probably gonna have to get Tommy John surgery, but
I hope not.
it's a good start at this point.
I
The
mean, yeah, he can.
question is, how are the Falcons gonna come out of the gate? That's my question.
I mean, I think how we attack this draft, especially in the first round, is going to be an indication on how we're going to go towards the future, in my opinion. I think after that third pick, you're going to see fireworks. You're going to see teams pretty much you never thought of was going to either going to jump ahead, go down, and it's just going to be a absolute chaotic night, which I can't wait. But like I said, day 2 and day 3, well, where the Falcons are going to make their money.
Hmm. I can say first off, shout out to Larry Dixon in the Dixon Way right now.
Wow.
You know, he's been out here
Dixon
supporting
Way.
his Dixon Way
What it
Braves.
is, what it do.
It's
You
too
gotta
early.
check. So you gotta check these. You gotta check him out. He does all Atlanta sports, and he also does his wife's
Oh
Florida
man.
Gator sports.
Oh man. Hey,
Yeah, I
Dick,
gotta throw that out there. We ain't gonna never like nothing up out of Florida. I'm
Man,
not,
Yeah.
You're
but
gonna have to
I
go
like
home and
I
repent.
like Larry's commentary. So if you get tired of listening to some of the same boring commentators or the guys that piss you off, mute your TV and go to YouTube and check out the Dixon Way. I do. You should too. You only
Dixon
get
Way.
you either get right or you get left, and that's one way to get right. But if you don't listen to him, you're gonna get left in the wind. So shout out to our boy Larry Dixon over there.
Yeah. He said, get that way. Over there
Get
with the
that
Dixon
away.
Way. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they did sign Borders. I agree with you on that. He had a 2-game suspension and the issue he had at hand. However, at this point, you have to look at the history of Atlanta. And when you talk about the history of Atlanta, they want church boys. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
they don't want the guys that might have a little bit of boogie in them. I'm not gonna sit there and classify it because we still got to keep it a little professional. So I'll just say they got a little boogie in them. They got a little buck in they nuck if you buck in their system. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the contemporary fans aren't fans of that, but they're wondering why we get pushed around on the field or in any other sport. You got to have some guys that's got to have a bad guy mentality. You have to.
You gotta have you got
And we've lacked that for years.
you gotta have it enforcement. You gotta have it enforcement.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, man, we gotta like I said, if we're going on Atlanta history, they don't have African American head coaches. We may be turning over a new leaf with this new team. So I'm not gonna rule out the possibility we're gonna go after some guys that are a little risque because you gotta have a couple knuckleheads on your team to go win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you
Remember the last think about it. The Hawks were the only team at the time that were bringing them in because Lenny Wilkins got Mike Woodson. I always forget the other coach that we let go of before we ended up getting Nate McMillan. I always forget his name. But I mean,
Oh,
the
it's
Hawks have
about
shown the history
Oh
of
yeah, I know
doing
what
it.
you're talking about.
Now we got the
you
Falcons that are actually starting to follow suit. The question is, are they going to be patient with Raheem? Because he still has to get his system implemented.
I mean,
no, because we've seen it. We've seen it way too many times in the league that when it comes to African American coaches, they might give you 1 or 2 years at most. And lately, African American coaches have only gotten one season. If you look at what has happened or transpired in Houston before they got their current head coach, they had 3 African American coaches, and not one of them lasted more than a season. Not one. So as much as we all want Raheem to succeed, well, the majority of us do because there's still some people out there who, for whatever reason, don't like the hiring. Are they, like you said, are they going to give him the leeway to implement his system, allow the system to work, as well as get more than just one draft to bring in the players that he wants that's going to fit it? Because Coach Lake is going to need certain players, Zach is going to need certain players, and Raheem is going to have to put all of it together. Are we going to give him more than just the one season? Me personally, I hope that they do because everywhere that he's been since, he's been a winner. When he was here as our wide receivers coach, transferring from the secondary coach, we were winners. He went to LA, they were winners. They won a Super Bowl. So you have to allow him to come in, set up shop, and start doing business. You're not going to get anything trying to force you to trying to be cheap. You have to allow him to do his job and let him work. The same thing that we've said about Terry for the last 3 years. Take off the handcuffs and let that man cook. And we've seen what he did last season. You took the handcuffs off, and he brought in a top 10, top 15 defense. You have to allow your system as well as your coaches to do their job. So that's the reason why Arthur Smith is not here now. He didn't let his coaches do their job. So with Raheem, he knows what he wants to do. He's told us what he wants to do. Now we just have to see it on the football field.
Yeah, I said max they give him about is 2 years. Because he did come in with a bona fide quarterback. So this at least he's gonna be short, but I believe he got a vision, man. It's got to work. He
But
came in with the right staff because we questioned Arthur Smith's staff from the rip. And, we questioned him from soon as day one.
yeah,
I don't have any questions about this staff that he put together, so I'm ready to go, man.
I
I'm gonna
mean,
Yeah,
stay
we talked
positive.
about T'Vondre Sweat. He got a DWI.
I'm gonna stay
And that
positive for
was
each
and that
go.
was just put out probably about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours ago on the news. So we definitely got some stuff that's going.
Yeah.
Oh, we got the first person that we get ready to pass a plate of fried chicken, catfish, smothered pork chops, smothered ribs. It's we got a whole bunch of stuff in there. Peach cobbler, sweet tea. But the first person that's gonna be up to the table, we call him the cricket preacher. We got
oh,
John minus the sweet tea, minus the Kool-Aid. All he needs is a little water and a shot of Jack. What's going on?
get that
What's
cognac
going
ready.
on, John?
Gentlemen, just be sure to have my Texas Pete on the table
Oh man, watered
for the
down pork
fried
chop.
chicken. Whoever, I don't care who cooking it, but have my Texas Pete ready.
Have it
Hey man,
ready,
we got
All
you
baby.
day.
covered, bro.
Gentlemen,
What's going on, man?
hey, you guys were talking a little bit earlier about the UFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that while you guys were talking about it.
Yeah.
Now, is the UFL something different or possibly just another place to play as a grooming for potential NFL people to come to the
Both.
NFL?
I say both.
I'll give you this. When it comes down to it, I really believe that this is another way, like they did in the 80s or whatnot, where they can actually see talent that they might have missed out on, and it's another way that talent can get developed for your system that you might have in play. Because think about it. Steve Young came out of the USFL, old USFL. Reggie White came out of there. One of the guys who we had to deal with twice a year, and Vaughn Johnson came out of the USFL because he was a Saints linebacker, and he was definitely a problem for us with that dome patrol. And then you look at, like I said, you look at some of the guys that have come out of there. What's his name? Gary Clark came out of there. I mean, I'm sorry, Ricky Sanders came out of there that played with Doug Williams. Dewey McClain, who played with us, was at the end of his career when he was there. But you look at a lot of the talent that ended up coming into. All I can say is you look at all the talent that came through there. To me, I feel like it's still a good brand of football, but it's still a developmental league. That's how I feel like it is. And you're going to be able to get some of the guys you might have passed on in the draft once they've developed and once they've learned the game, because you have a mixture of college coaches that's there, because John Chavis was there, legendary defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Vols that coached Reggie White, and then he ended up going to Texas A&M and having them. But it's so many, and it's so many. You have Mike Nolan coaching today. I mean, it's so many of these former scouts, coaches, and things. They're starting to run this league, and they're able to coach. They don't have as much pressure on them as they would in the NFL. Now the players do, but the coaches don't. So it's a way that you can develop talent, John, and it can be like a feeder system to the NFL for guys that get missed.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's more like almost like Second Chance U. If you ever watch that on Netflix, that's pretty much what I'm getting the vibe of with the UFL, man. Because you get a pretty much a combination of college and players that already played in the National Football League, still trying to get that second chance to maybe make a return to the NFL. So I do
I
agree with the
just
historian with
I
that.
just feel like the NFL and the USFL need to merge together
Not
because
happening.
I mean, just this is my thought. Support that league and let them be like your D league, your developmental league for guys to come back and come back up. I mean, that's what I feel. I mean, like I said, they need to be tied together, just like they have the league for the NBA that brings those guys up, the developmental league.
Well, they getting ready to cut that out in 2 years.
For the NBA.
Yeah,
Dang.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
The G League getting ready to get at. I don't know why.
Well,
Well,
Cam, what you think about that, sir?
Think about what, good brother?
Um, the UFL.
Mm-hmm.
See, okay. Well, let me lay this out and see what you think about it. Now, the very first league that was a quote unquote challenger to the NFL was the AFL.
Mm-hmm.
And the AFL promoted itself as being a more modern league because the NFL was just predominantly running. The AFL, they said, oh, we can find some people that can throw the football. We can have wide receivers go down the field and we can throw the bomb. Plus other little rules, wrinkles, things of that sort that the AFL brought. They became a challenger and your Super Bowls were born because it was a contest between the AFL and the NFL. And the Super Bowl was just, hey, who's the best? Okay, between the two leagues. The USFL, as Ryan pointed out, came along a little bit later. Um, they were a viable challenger because they were signing people just like the NFL, trying to get people to come to the USFL before the NFL. Like Herschel Walker was a notable example, with the one who shall not be named as the owner. Um, the USFL, when it was reborn and was competing with what was his other league? Was World Football League too last year? It was World Football League and the USFL. Okay, they were going at each other, but it wasn't enough for either one of them to survive, so they combined and became this UFL.
Yeah, so you have
And
the XFL, the USFL.
yeah, the XFL. That's right. That's right. XFL
You
too.
have the IFL also.
Yeah. Oh man. See, there you go. You had a whole bunch of alphabet leagues that were really taking bites off of each other, and they just really just messed each other up. So this what came out as the UFL is now taking over. My question was, are they revolutionary enough, or are they just places for people to go to play football who couldn't qualify to get in the NFL?
With that's a great question actually. If you look at it, this is almost like the G League in a way. A lot of guys who come out didn't make a squad, or if they did make a team, they had trouble, whatever. Now you have someone to play. If you look at it being revolutionary, I mean, some of the rule changes that we have in the NFL are coming from the UFL. So a lot of the things that they try out in the UFL or whatever is being brought over to the NFL. So I feel like a lot of what they do here is being watched by the NFL. But if you're looking at revolutionary, I would say that it really started with the IFL and the AFL. Because if you look at arena football and indoor football, the field was smaller. There was no out of bounds. The field goal is gay
Oh
big.
man, that's
So you have, if you were going to kick the ball, it had to be accurate. So I would feel like the more revolutionary and inventive collaborations came from those two things. Now, if we're talking, then if you also look at Canada, you see a lot of how the motion prior to the snap started. That all started in Canada. Now they're bringing it into college football as well as NFL. So I feel like with the way that the UFL is going right now, because they did combine the XFL and the USFL, they brought those two leagues together. what is probably going to happen? They're probably going to end up phasing out Canada football because what they're looking at is making a full season while the NFL is away. That's the plan. Because I watched a press conference with Dwayne Johnson on Friday, and that's the league's goal is to have a full season just like the NFL. Because that way, during that layover, you don't just have to sit and watch baseball. Because that's really the only sport going on while the NBA is gone, hockey is gone, NFL is gone. You really only have baseball at that point. So once they figure out how they want to do it, then you will get to see a lot of more revolutionary things as far as formations and things of that nature. But honestly, it's almost the same thing that the G League is doing with the NBA. A lot of the rule changes in the G League are being brought over to the NBA, just like the UFL is bringing over their rules to the NFL. So like the kickoff stuff, all of that, it's being tried out over here to see how it will work before they transfer it over to the major league. So we just have to hope that there's no money issues as far as the UFL goes, because that's really why the XFL went away, because they weren't making money. But if they continue to have sponsors and they continue to grow, then we can kind of see where the NFL end up going to be. But right now, no, I still feel like IFL football is way more points driven because of how they move the ball around. It's a shorter field, and they move the ball
quick,
incredibly quick. You have like a 15-minute play clock, and that's it. I mean, a 15-second play clock. Excuse me.
Hey Cam, but I got to disagree with you about the Canadian Football League. Canadian Football League's been around for over 100 years, and it ain't going nowhere. And they still have a huge following and a huge fan base when it comes to the CFL. And you got to remember, it's still a ton of guys that come from there that come to the NFL and they still play. And you got to remember, we got D. Alford, a guy that played in that league. We've had a couple of guys come down from the CFL and play for the Falcons, and they've been very successful. At this rate, I don't think it's ever going to. It'll challenge it, but I don't think it's going to ever put it up under the table, because the UFL at this point is really just trying to gain notoriety and fans. It's a virgin league that's still opening up. First year was last year, and now you're combining it with another league. And the question is this: are you going to be able to generate funds? Because you're going to need fans to pay for tickets, and you're going to need for fans to pay for a lot of different things to help out. So the question is, are they going to be able to generate funds to keep everything going? And are they going to be in a position to keep the league afloat? Because if they don't get much participation, it's not going to be a major player as in football. It's just not. It's going to be in a spot to where it's like, all right, this is just like a glorified scrimmage. And I'm not trying to down them, but that's how they're going to look at it, because if they're not getting the ratings and the views, it's not going to be on TV much longer, even in the off season. So when you look at it, you have to look at it all the way around. And the question is this: are we going to turn that into a developmental league for guys that might play bad, instead of like a team that we might have? The organization might want to keep a guy and they like him, but they send the guy down to that league or whatnot, and they still keep his contract and they let him develop. And when he's ready to come and play, they're going to bring him up. And the question is, do you ever think that they're going to do that? Because if it gets to that point, I believe we could use this league as a developmental league for guys, like you said, and we spoke on it earlier. And instead of it being televised to see how guys are, you just know that your player might be down there getting reps and getting playing time and understanding the speed of the game, pretty much, because they're going to try to run that just like the NFL to a certain extent. So it's pretty much what I got for John's question.
I'm not saying that the CFL is going away. I'm not saying that. Well, what they were saying is, based on the premise of how this league is being constructed, a lot of the players no longer have to go to Canada to play ball.
Right.
So a lot of those guys are more so moving over to the UFL. So they're already looking at, expanding things of that nature. So if you don't have players going to the CFL anymore and they're all staying statewide or stateside because they get to play in front of their friends, family, their kids, whatever, that's what they were saying. So they're looking at the CFL possibly phasing out, not right away, but later on down the line, if more players continue to push their way to play for the UFL. So I loved it. I had a chance to play in the CFL for one game, literally one game. So, I mean, it's a great league, and a lot of great players have come out of it. So I don't anticipate the CFL going away within the next 5 to 10 years. But if the UFL continues to grow, like you said, if they continue to grow in notoriety and fans and things of that nature, what I see happening is almost kind of like how LeVar Ball's basketball league got swallowed up by the G League. Most of those teams are now in the G League now, and they're being ran by the G League. So I'm looking at how the UFL is being ran right now because a lot of former NFL bigwigs are now running the UFL. So if they continue to collaborate with the NFL, things of that nature, I see that being, the possible ending for the CFL and the beginning of a bigger developmental system for the NFL, bringing in other players as well as current players being on like a somewhat of a two-way contract where they play in the spring and they play during the regular season because they're gaining experience as well as getting that playing time that they probably wouldn't get during the regular season because they're on a practice squad.
And then on top of that, they already got two big sponsors already. They got Progressive and they got the U.S. Army this year. That's kind of big
Yeah.
for a league that you go out there and develop. When you think about the merger of the XFL and the USFL, getting the U.S. Army and Progressive, that's not bad so far.
I mean, they backed by The Rock, so he has a lot of connections and affiliates that want to get down with him because he's a
TKO.
big movie star. So
Nah,
Plus
that
the
is,
fact you got a TV contract.
exactly.
You
That's
got a
huge.
TV contract. And the
Exactly.
thing is, radio games, yeah, it was on the 5-yard, 6, 7, 8 yard. No, bro. I get to see you,
mhm.
because I never will forget in the old XFL, old buddy, I can't remember what his name was, but when you could put your own, put whatever it is you want to on the back.
He hate
Oh,
me.
Oh yeah.
You ain't
he
talking
hates
about
me.
He
his
hates
kid
me.
up there for the
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Man, I still remember that. And I said, oh my goodness, you letting him get away with that? And
Hey,
just like you were saying, Coach Cam, about the rules and the various quirks that they are using, because see, now they did pass that new kickoff procedure for this coming year, right?
Yeah.
They did pass that.
Yeah.
Yep.
See,
Bringing
man,
it,
because
man, they bringing it back to the game. That was passed about a week and a half ago.
yeah.
Mhm.
See, yeah, I thought I heard something about it, but I wasn't sure whether they passed that particular rule change or not. And see, everybody, all of these little leagues are coming up with stuff like that, just like when, the 3-point shot came from the ABA to the NBA. Finally, and I wouldn't doubt a 4-point shot is coming because they can launch it. We have somebody that can launch it from the logo. Hey, man. And it's not like it's only one player on the team that can do that. There are many players on teams now that can do that. As well as in football, I mean, the athleticism is about to be off the charts now.
Yeah.
10-yard out throws where you think you can't get to it, man. Some of these defensive linemen can get to it. Okay, some of these defensive linemen can get to it. And see, I would imagine me when I was trying to return punts back in high school for the couple of games I did, Man, if I had a defensive lineman, coming at me, man, I just fold up and die. Coach, you can have your football, you can have his uniform. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm out.
That's a
Because, man,
special for John, but that's a special skill set to return punts and kickoffs, because the problem with that it's an instinct that you're born with. That's something that you can't be taught. Like guys, and I tell people this all the time. You can catch and learn how to field it, but you have to be able to hit lanes at a high velocity. You have to
Yeah.
be able to see stuff happening before it happens, because I was a hitman.
You gotta be fearless too.
I was on all phases: punt coverage, kickoff coverage, and also, and you talk about kick return and punt return. Hell, I was one of the sacrificial bodies. And I tell people all the time that the best way to describe being a kick returner on special teams is like a deer running through a minefield. You're not gonna see where it's coming from. It's just gonna catch you. And most of the shots that don't look like they hurt, those are the ones that hurt the worst, and those are the ones where you hit the hardest. I'm not gonna lie. I tried being a punt returner because I could run. And I think my coach figured it out real quick. It's like, he can field it, he can do this, but the question is, he's not afraid of contact. But the thing is, I don't need him taking contact when I need him to get upfield. That was my mistake, because, like I said, I never ran. And Coach McGriff said, "Nah, son, I'm not using you as a kick returner or a punt returner. I need you to be my headhunter," and I didn't mind doing it. And Coach McGriff has been on here. He'll probably end up coming through Thursday if he's not working. But he'll tell you that was the one thing he stressed about his retirement. He said, "I don't need you juking and jiving trying to fake everybody out. I just need you to make one cut and go. That's what I need you to do." And it's a skill set that you have to have, being able to return kickoffs and punts, because you have to be mentally tough, because you don't know where it's going to come from. It could be a 300-pounder that can hit you. It could be a 200 and something pounder that can hit you. It could be somebody 185 pounds that can hit you. Because if you remember, and we're not Dallas Cowboy fans on here, but we got to give a little respect to him. Bill Bates made a living off of he started as a safety. He had some games where he played for Dallas in the 80s, but on those Jimmy Johnson teams that he was on close to the end of his career, he pretty much prolonged his career being a hitman on special teams, period. He didn't miss many assignments. And when you look at it, that's one of the toughest things to do, is being a special teams player. It's hard. I tell everybody's like, "Oh, they don't do much." I'm like, I want you to get in the middle of traffic. Yeah. I just want you to stand in the middle of a street and you just watch cars zooming by. That is the equivalency of what being a return, pretty much being on special teams is like.
You gotta be fearless.
Raymond just said it perfectly.
Yeah. Kamikaze mission.
Raymond just said it perfectly. It's the kamikaze mission.
But I'm gonna describe it like the God rest his soul. But I got to describe it like the legendary special teams coach. He was known for his special teams around the NFL. That's Frank Gans. Frank Gans helped win a Super Bowl with the Rams, but he also was with the Eagles, the Jaguars, and so many teams that had great returners and also great coverage teams, because he was one of the best in the business. And as he said before, he says, "I describe courage. It's just like the men in the 101st and the 82nd Airborne. You describe courage. They're the guys that are afraid, but they go anyway. That is the best way to describe being on it, because you don't know what's coming. You don't know what's going to happen. And a lot of people don't pay attention to special teams. We do on this show. We talk about that third phase of the game that no one wants to talk about. But when you have great returns, you have great kickoff coverage, you play field position, so many things can swing the momentum of a game. Period. Definitely. And Atlanta now is going to be able to use returners this year. And we got some guys who can actually do some damage. Now that Avery Williams is pretty much going to be gone, you got Ray McLeod, and then you also have Antonio Hamilton, who we just signed, South Carolina State alumni, is going to be playing defense. But he's a guy that that was one of the things that stood out that got him a shot in the NFL. Outside of his play at South Carolina State under Buddy Pugh, him being a kick returner, and a punt return. Period.
Being versatile, being very versatile, and being fearless. Get your job.
And thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
he
Steve.
definitely not off. He definitely not off the hook.
Yeah, and everybody got on me when I said, "Why would you bring him back?" Oh well, no. Guess what? You're back. You're under the spotlight now. You got a whole new regime right now, and if you can't get this special teams unit to cooking, you got to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I mean, he gives great interviews. That's why I give him that. But he got to be able to
I
coach
don't
them.
care about what he sound like in front of this microphone, like what we're doing. I
No,
need
no,
him
I'm
to
just.
sound good on the field, cussing out folks, pretty much covering kicks and punts and causing turnovers. That's what
I
I
was.
would love to see.
Look. I was being sarcastic, trying to throw him a bone, but yeah, I feel
Look, he don't even deserve that, Kate. Look, your generosity, you're more generous than I am. So
yeah.
your generosity is gladly accepted. I'm saying that wholeheartedly. You are a lot nicer than me. I want to put my foot right on the back of his neck right now. That's how I'm feeling.
I mean,
You
I'm
know,
surprised. I'm surprised they brought him back. It's something that Raheem seen in him when he interviewed because I really didn't think he was coming back.
I believe
Well,
Raheem wanted to give him a fair shake because I think that he might have had his hands tied. Let's just be real, because John called this a long time ago, and he said this on the, when we first really started venturing out on our own, and when we got on YouTube, John said, "I guarantee you, Arthur Smith is pulling all the strings, and he don't trust nobody on that staff. He's not letting guys earn their check." John, you said that a while ago. I got to credit you for that. You said that, and we were like, man, nah, it's not like that. Nope. I got to give you your credit for that. I'm humble enough to say I was wrong. You was right about that. And don't get used to me saying I'm wrong on my show like that to you.
of course not, Ryan. Of course not.
Oh, I got
no. See, gentlemen. See, one thing about it. You know how older folk, you'll be dating somebody, and you bring them by the house, and your grandmother or your mother sees something. Don't say nothing about it right then. But after the folk done left, say, who you said where she come from? What she did? What, start asking questions like that, because she was me and my wife were dating, we were both wearing glasses. She said, "Damn, the baby gonna be blind, ain't she?" Now one of them can see. Old folk do that. And see, from watching football and watching people and watching coaches and watching regimes and watching stuff like that, there are little things that just fire off and say, just like see how you doing, Coach Cam, like that. See that? It just rubbed you the wrong way. It put that lightning bolt up your back, and that don't feel right. And Arthur Smith, and I know I've talked about this ad nauseum. It was a situation where, okay, you're coming in, you're arrogant, you don't mind telling anybody how arrogant you are, you don't mind being and portraying yourself as the smartest person in the room. You had accolades, and you had people put you at the top 5 of coaching search lists, things of that sort. And then you got a silver spoon in your mouth to boot. Coming down here with that attitude in Atlanta? Okay. Let's see what happens. And it was just that.
John, hold up. I got to do this for everybody, got to get this thing right, because we got a few more things we're going to talk about, but we got somebody that's coming into the cage I've been waiting for today.
Come on with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, the voice of the Atlanta sports scene, minus the most sorry Florida Gators, we have our guy, Larry Dixon.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Larry?
What up? What up? What up?
Hey, how we say it? Say it like on Coming to America. That boy's good.
That boy good.
That boy's
That boy good.
That boy good.
We got my dog Larry and Dixon into the building. Host of the Dixon Way. What's
going on?
happening, Big Larry?
Ooh, great win today by the Braves, who actually
Woo,
did
outstanding.
come back today. You know what I'm saying?
Outstanding, man.
Austin Riley.
Smacked up on them. Won 5-2, so swept them Diamondbacks out of there, who represented the National League in the World Series this year. So that was a really good
Statement
series
win
win,
today.
sweep. You know,
Yeah.
So we beat the Phillies 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Wish we could have
and
swept them too.
Yeah, and then the White Sox, we gave up one because it was snowing, and then we come back here and sweep the Diamondbacks. We started
Yeah,
off
man.
real good, even though unfortunately Spencer Strider out for the year. The next man up, Uncle Chris, looked real good today. Looked real good.
Protecting home field, man. It's always a good thing.
Yeah,
Man,
And,
We got to start giving them so many points though. That's really
Larry,
but
bothering
we
me.
didn't today. We didn't today.
Now, Larry, this is what I want to ask you because we talked a little bit about Spencer Strider a little earlier today.
Yep.
And here's my thing. I feel like Alex Anthopoulos, you know, he made some decent moves on the pitcher side. You know, Chris Sale had a great game today, but I really feel like with what we have, we should have added on to this to these aces because every year is one guy that go down. It never fails.
True.
1 year is somebody always going down for the Braves, just like the Falcons. It's always one guy that's a key contributor that goes down. Because Avery Williams was the guy who went down last year, who was the spark.
Yeah,
And
2
he blew
years
his
Mike
knee out.
Soroka.
And we saw that we in the return game we had a drop off. I know D. Offer had some good moments, but Avery was consistent.
Yes.
And that hurt to lose him, even though now that we got Ray McLeod and you know Avery plays more than one position.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to get rid of him, even though they did. But I wouldn't want to get rid of a guy that can play 3 positions and do it well.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But hey, we got to trust the process right now.
Trust the process, man.
But Larry, now that y'all brought that up,
Yeah.
last year when we had a chance to add and we didn't, whose head gonna roll behind that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're talking about for the Braves or the Falcons?
For the Braves.
Oh, for the Braves? The bus
See,
starts with Alex Anthopoulos, and here's the thing. Alex Anthopoulos is working with a salary cap, guys. We have to realize this. He's working with a salary cap that no one else in baseball is working with. So
company imposed salary cap.
Yes, company imposed salary cap.
Yeah.
Even the media say he can only spend but so much. Basically, you can only spend what you make. Basically, that's what he does.
Oh.
Luckily, we got the best
Damn
fan
tight
base.
was, man.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, that's why Max Friedman got money right now. But again, with him coming out with his first 2 outings, very poor, didn't make it out of the first inning in his first game, and then this game not this game, but the night before gave up 6 runs in the first inning. Luckily, we got the best offense probably in the history of baseball. Time will tell. But I know one thing. I know Maddox and Glavine, Smoltz wish they had this offense. You know,
They wish
had those type of bats during that run that we went on.
Now we had some good bats, but
not like this though, Larry.
Not like this. Not like this.
Our
Shoot.
9-hole, man. We got the dude Jared Kelnick, right? The guy that was our big move, positional wise, with Jared Kelnick out of Seattle, former #1 pick in the draft. They went Julio Rodriguez way, so that's who they're like basing their team around. You know what I'm saying? After he had that amazing
season
home run derby, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He kicked off from there, and then he's taking off. I still don't think he's better than Money Mike, but that's another story.
I like that.
No, he's not. He's not.
I like that. I'm saying, I think
Mike is just, to me, I feel like Mike still got to get better with his bat. But as a defender in that outfield, Mike is a vacuum.
He's
Like
batting
Mike is a
340.
true vacuum out there in that darn out there in that outfield.
Tell him, Larry.
Look,
They bet 340,
Money Mike
man.
had
Yeah,
a
but
bad
here's
look. Money Mike
huh?
had a bad 2 months last year. It by the time
No, sir. Money
by the
Mike, baby.
time Memorial Day hit, just before Memorial Day, he took off.
Yep.
And it was the same thing with Marcell Ozuna, the big bear.
Whew.
If
Mm.
Marcell Ozuna was batting like 0.6 3, it took off. He batted around 350 for the rest of the season. Ended up around 260 or something like that. Same thing with Money Mike. Money Mike was batting 162. He bat for the rest of the season 348. And he's batting 345 right now.
Crazy.
So no. And quite a scout, Money Mike is my dark horse for MVP. He's gonna make the All-Star team.
Oh
As
yeah.
long as he's
That's
healthy,
obvious. He
he's
gonna
gonna make
make the All-Star team. That's
No, it's
obvious.
not obvious. Think about it. We'll
With the
keep
way
that.
he play, I'm saying with the way he's been, but think about it, Larry. From the day he stepped on the field, the only
Yeah.
thing he's got is we've even heard you say you got to be more disciplined behind the plate with some of the pitches
Yeah.
that's coming, and that comes
Yeah.
with time. But as an outfielder, man, I'm just gonna be honest. We got the two best outfielders in the game right now.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
those two, with him, with Money Mike and Acuna, the two
yeah,
best in the game.
yeah,
I stand on that.
yeah.
Yeah, we can we
No
can
doubt.
we can upgrade our left
But
field. We definitely can upgrade there.
No,
but
I like
speaking of
Jared Kelnick right now, man. He bats 600. I'm good with Jared Kelnick right now. He
yeah,
he ain't gonna last the whole season, but right now he's been the best hitter on his team. Unfortunately, Brian Snicker, in his infinite wisdom, has been subbing him out every 3 games, like he's Sean Murphy and Travis Darno, like the catchers. Now we understand with catchers, their knees get tired. You want to get them the rest.
Yeah.
But if you got somebody, if you just went out and got the dude, now he had a horrible spring, Jared Kelvin. He in 600 right now. Every 3 games they're putting in Adam Duvall, because you know Adam Duvall is one of the homies. He been here forever. You know what I'm saying? They let him go, they bring him back. He like an ex.
just like
So,
Chavez.
exactly. So yeah, Uncle Jesse, same thing. So
So I got a
since
question
Brian
for you.
Snicker
Not,
got that, he got that old feeling back. He's gonna play him every 3 times. This
Mm-hmm.
kid is burning it up, man. He can't get out. I'm just
Yeah.
like, what are we fooling around with the offense right now? Let him cook.
hey, Larry,
Yeah.
as you always say, let them cook. I got a question for you. Let's talk about
Okay.
these Falcons right now with cooking. We definitely gonna have a collab with the Braves and the Falcons one day. But we doing the soul food plate pass around right now. I'm getting ready to pass you some of this fresh peach cobbler because you missed the greens and the yams and everything, bro.
Oh, okay,
These-
okay.
but I put a plate aside for you, so I got you, big dog. I got
All
you.
right, cool. Come
So the
and get
Falcons
your
have hosted
soul
James
food.
Smith Williams, who is a defensive end that played for the Washington Commanders for the past 3 years,
Okay,
4 years.
okay,
I'm sorry, the past 4 years. And he came up with 85 tackles, 7 sacks, and 2 pass deflections on that defensive line with Chase Young. He's a guy that doesn't get talked about much, but he definitely was very effective on that 4-man front. And Washington let him go. Atlanta's talking to him right now. We're talking about bringing in edge rushers. Yeah, we're talking about drafting one, but you got a guy that's a veteran that played on the Ron Rivera attack style defense that understands how to play coming off pretty much pass rushing, run stopping, and he can also drop into coverage as a defensive end. The North
okay,
Carolina State guy, he's highly intelligent because he had an internship with IBM. Little nugget
right,
for everybody. Once he's done playing football, he's gonna work for IBM. Already got that on lock. So with
okay.
the intelligence that this guy brings with the physicality, what do you think would benefit the Falcons if we were to sign this guy?
Well, always having someone that's a veteran that know what the heck they're doing is always a good thing. Um, you're getting Calais in there and having him, you know, be a part of it. Like having veterans that can be productive. What I remember at Edwards is him setting the edge. So I really never really scoped Washington like that outside of Chase Young because I wanted him, but I see his effort don't match his his so-called talent. So
Yeah.
he might be another
Little
clown.
clowny.
Yeah, he
I was
might
gonna
be
say
another clown.
another damn clown.
In other words, collect the paycheck every 2-3 years.
Yeah. So what I will say about Edwards is uh
You mean Smith?
I
You mean
I mean
Smith
Smith,
Williams?
excuse me. What I say about Smith is I think that will be a good thing if we're gonna draft an edge and a traditional edge like Latu or Verse. I think that would be excellent teacher. You know what I'm saying? Teach that leverage.
I'm
I
for that
definitely
too.
want Sweat. I don't care about the. I wanted Carter, so Sweat just get a deal. I'm not worried about that. All right, don't do this and pass on a good player again who can actually,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Don't
saying,
mention Carter, please,
be
because
dominant.
that's a mute point with a lot of us on this panel. Because
It is
all
what it is.
this when they passed on him.
Tell me
Yeah,
about it.
it is what it is. But
And he
again,
was the best and think about it. He was the best defensive
he's the
lineman
best
this
player
year
in the draft.
on limited snaps.
Yeah, he was. Like he literally was the best player in that draft, and he showed why on limited snaps with the offensive coordinator who really wasn't ready to be offensive coordinator yet. Where you got one and then you switch over to Patricia, who should never be like literally. We seen that Matt Patricia literally was just
Garbage.
like Bill Belichick made him, and he was nothing without Bill. So that's kind of a moot point on that.
Should
Yeah.
have put him
Uh,
in Detroit
maybe
then.
he'll go
But
to
how is he?
Nebraska. Maybe he'll
But
go
how
to
is he going to fit in
Nebraska.
the 3-4?
I don't even think he can help Matt. I don't even think he can help old boy in Nebraska. That's just the
Man,
honest to God
Matt
truth.
Rule don't want that.
But
Matt
how do
No,
you
Matt
no,
feel
Rule
that?
ain't
no.
trying to deal with that
Hold
mediocrity.
on. Didn't Bill take his job?
Who?
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken. Somebody must have been trolling there. Anyway,
Nah, Matt Rule's out there in
yeah, in
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah,
Okay,
Matt Rule's in Nebraska. Matt
yeah.
once he ended up getting fired from the Panthers or whatnot, he ended up going to Nebraska, and this will be his second year there, and he ended up stealing one of the
I
best
thought Bill
quarterbacks
Belichick
with
took
Dylan
his job.
Raiola.
No, man.
Did he give
But
Bill his job?
here's
Matt
my
Rule.
question for the panel. Here's my question
Okay,
for the
my
Rule.
bad.
panel.
My bad.
How do you feel he's going to fit in that 3-4 defense? Because again, everywhere he's played in a 4-3.
4-3,
He's
and
never played in
that's
a 3-4. So how do you feel that transition? Because transitioning from a 4-3 to a 3-4 is not an easy transition. It's easy to transition
no,
from
it's
a
not.
3-4 to a 4-3, but going from a 4-3 to a 3-4 is real hard because if you're a 2 technique, switching to a 3 or a 4 technique every play is
Yeah.
extremely hard on your back and your knees.
Yep.
How is he going to fit if we were to bring him in? How do you feel he would fit in this scheme?
Good question.
First off, I think it was dumb for us to go away from the 4-3. And if you saw the 4-3 put us in the top 10 in the league because we were able to blitz, the corners were able to play a little bit more freer. And if you look at that 3-4 defense, we played that with Dean Pease. And if you look at what happened with that defense that we played with Dean Pease, we got bullied by everybody's offense.
Yes, we did.
So Raheem Morris, the only thing I'm gonna be critical of, and I don't give a damn how y'all feel about this on the panel, and I'm gonna call it spade a spade. We should have never shifted from a 4-3 defense because of the type of personnel that we have. That is our personnel is built for a 4-3 defense. And when you have a defense that can bring pressure from 4 different spots on that line, you don't mess with that. And now you're getting ready to give these offensive lines more of a chance to get after your linebacking core. And then if they decide to run on you, they're gonna kill a lot of your cornerbacks and safeties because you don't have that much beef on the field. And as John always says it, you got to have dump trucks that are right there on that defensive line to stop the run.
Do you
And we're
think
moving from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Hey, we don't have an Aaron Donald. I'm sorry. That's a free. He was just a freak.
That guy from Indiana might be. I mean, not Indiana, Illinois. I can't remember his name.
He's definitely good,
Ooh.
but I'm not gonna put too much on a rookie coming in. Jalen Carter was nice, but I'm not gonna put that much trust in a rookie when he has to learn the system first, as
Yeah.
well as learn how to get these cagey veteran offensive linemen off of. Because you got to remember, if you're playing a 3-4 defense, you're pretty much going to be a whipping post. That's what you're going to do at that zero technique. You are a whipping post.
Well,
Here's
just
my
depends on if you got a big hog right there. If you got a big hog, then he gonna be doing the whipping. You know what I'm saying? If he can take up two people, man, that's
Yeah.
gonna free. I mean, think about Langman. And I like what Jesse did and Grady when he was in there, but they wasn't keeping them guys clean either. So, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of that, man, if you got a big, you know what I'm saying, Haloli Nada type dude in the middle
Yeah. Yeah.
that is a space heater that demands a double team. Not sometime, but all the time. Like they gotta address that. Or he's gonna push that center and that guard in their lap every time. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna explode that pocket. And if you got a pocket exploder like that, bro, everybody on the team is better. Like Layman. If you get a Dallas, I personally want to move back. Yeah. Do everybody here want to move back? Oh, y'all
I
gotta
want to
say that.
move. Oh, I want to move
yeah,
back.
We already said who we wanted the eighth spot, but it would make more sense to move back because you can add more players.
Yeah.
Because somebody gonna give you a whole bunch of cutting or whatever to get that spot. Cut it, draws, everything.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna give you something.
Yeah.
But I'm in the halves of moving back, but no farther than 15, man. I don't want to move too far back. That's just my opinion on it.
Okay.
You move to 12. You don't move no lower than 12. You move to 15. You're losing a franchise piece.
I just feel like at 15 we can get somebody. It just that's the furthest I would move back, but it depends on what the compensation is because we could collect a lot of talent like that.
Because here's the thing: if you do move back, say if you move back to 15 and you get 2 to 3 more additional picks this year because they want that one spot, you got a chance to reel in a ton of talent with those extra 3 spots.
Yeah.
But and I'm gonna speak from a defensive perspective. Everybody's talking about, oh, what is it? Talking to a dude who played in the 3-4 at one point and then played in the 4-3. It's a big difference, and I was a safety. And I'm telling you right now, you have to have the horses to run in a 3-4 defense. We don't have those horses, bro.
We don't have that person.
Our team is built for a 4-3. And when you look at it, I get what y'all saying about Jimmy Lake and all this here, but let's be real. We don't have shutdown corners.
No.
We don't.
No, we
Jesse Bates is the best player in that secondary next to DeMarco Helms. Clark Phillips III is developing, but look at it. If they decide to run stretch zone plays where they got guards pulling, Clark Phillips III is nothing but a speed bump for a 300-pounder that's athletic that can pull. Jesse Bates is going to be the only one that's going to be trying to make plays, but you're going to have linemen to get to the second and third level because your linebackers aren't going to be able to stop anything. Even though they didn't keep like Larry.
Yeah.
Even though the linebackers were not totally clean, they were clean enough to make plays.
Yeah.
They were clean enough to make plays.
So
And I'm not disregarding what you're saying because I get what you're saying. We still got to make the play. They still got to make the plays or whatnot, but it makes it a lot easier when you have 4 people up front where they can't unleash that whole offensive line on your second and third level. Because you get tired of chasing people, and once you get tired and you start breathing heavy, them fat boys start to lean on you, and it gets even harder to be able to make plays. That's why we gave up so many leads during the Arthur Smith era when we didn't have a true defense. That was why. It wasn't.
That's not why. That's not why. Not what Ritter said. Ritter said he wasn't put in positions to win.
I'm talking about the defense. I ain't talking about.
One thing I got to say about that defensive line. The defensive line. It's a crying shame. It is a crying shame for each one of your defensive lines, whether it be a 3-4 or 4-3, to get taken out mono or mono. And you're leaving a center to deal with that poor blitzing safety corner or linebacker, and he knocks his number off of both sides of his jersey into the dirt. That man, and see, the thing is, Buddy will get up. He'll get up and try to shake it off, but he threw for at least 3 plays because that's 320 pounds going against 180 pounds, and you came in there like a missile. And I mean, I saw a man just get knocked off the TV screen. You didn't even see him on the field. I got a 50-inch TV. He was gone, but it was gone. He left the field.
But it's real.
Because the thing is that okay, if your four down linemen, they supposed to be hellified, they supposed to be the catch me out, they supposed to come and get it. But when you stand them all up, that one man is free. He just standing there waiting on somebody. Oh, he come, boom. He threw. That cornerback threw. That safety threw.
And that's exactly why Larry said what he said. Because if you're playing in 3-4, you need someone like a Haloti Ngata, a Vince Wilfork, someone to blow up the middle, blow up the center. Because if you're looking at it, you're already at a disadvantage. You have 5 offensive linemen compared to 3 defensive linemen. So it's 2 double teams.
Or T Sizzle.
Wait a minute, hold up. Now you know I'm about to ask you this because you know what? Now you starting to make my skin crawl because you're a defensive cat like me. So you know what I'm about to ask you, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you know it's coming. You have a better chance with more numbers up front than you do in the back, right?
True.
Yep.
Very true.
Because you control the line of scrimmage.
That's why they're running 3-4 defense.
That's why I said I don't give a damn if you get Haloti Ngata. I get he's a ball player, but here's the thing. If you ever notice, you beat teams like that by attacking those next levels. And the way that you do that is go to the weak side at all times.
Go to the weak side.
And they beat you up. Now, you know this as a coach. Yeah. So I'm not saying that you don't have to agree or disagree, but I'm just saying you win games with numbers. You control the line of scrimmage. Like the legendary coach John Robinson said a long time ago. It's not about who gets across to the other side. It's the force, the power, and the balance that you have after you engage with contact with the man.
Yeah.
And when you have numbers that dominate those 3 down linemen and they get pushed, you lose. You lose all the time because your defense will get tired of getting beat on. Yeah, and you know this as a coach. This as a coach.
I know.
That's
why I got so. And I think that's why
I don't like 3-4 either. But I mean,
and that's why I think I want some of the games.
Run it, but I'm just stating that I'm against it. Like this.
I'm trying to figure out. Does he just
say that?
I'm just trying to figure out. Is Coach Raheem? Is he just his preference? He loves calling a 3-4. Why would he change?
This is late. Because Lake can always run.
This is Jimmy Lake, bro.
Jimmy Lake.
Think about it.
This is Lake. He's always
running. They were not going to bring back Ryan Nielsen. And my thing is the stupidest thing was letting Nielsen walk. No disrespect to Jimmy Lake, but my thing is this: like, bro, you're an unproven commodity. Ryan Nielsen was proven in New Orleans. We knew what we were getting with Ryan Nielsen. We saw what he could do. Why do we always have to be the team that has to be the experimental ground for people to figure things out and then they go be successful elsewhere? Ryan Nielsen is in Jacksonville with a loaded defense.
Loaded
defense, like ours was getting ready to be loaded this year. And now, like, come on, man. Like, I'm sorry to say it like that, but I'm at a point like, look, it should have been just like this. It should have been just like this. Terry said, listen, I'm gonna let you bring in your offense, but you don't touch Ryan Nielsen. You don't touch Jerry Gray. Those are guys you're gonna have to figure out how to work with because that was a top 10 defense and #1 red zone defense in the NFL last year.
But if you remember though,
and now that Ryan Nielsen,
Ryan Nielsen got up out of here early, man. You remember?
But here's the thing, though, they already knew that they were gonna hire you, boy. They already knew that. They just went.
I'm starting to think that Ryan Nielsen really didn't want to work with Raheem. Why you saying it like that? That's just my assumption.
I agree.
No.
I agree.
No. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that, Kate.
Because it's not reality.
I'll put you on that, Cam.
No.
He's working with a worse situation in Jacksonville because their coach got fired because they didn't bring enough pressure. We brought pressure in Atlanta, and that right there should have been enough to keep him in the stable. Period.
I'm just putting my opinion out there. I'm just putting my opinion on that. I really don't think you want to work with
Ryan Nielsen was really an Arthur Smith guy. You know,
there you go. There you go.
The Arthur Smith guy more so that he didn't want to.
I agree with that.
But
with
if you look at it,
Raheem.
Terry
Terry brought.
also
I got to disagree because Terry brought him in. Arthur Smith didn't bring him in. Terry
Terry
brought him
brought
in.
him in,
I
That was a
and
Terry
understand that, but I
Fontenot guy.
think he was the first
Well,
one that was ready to go.
That was a Terry Fontenot
okay.
guy because think
Okay.
about it. Arthur Smith brought in Dean Pease out of retirement, out of the old folks' home, and set him up there while he was taking naps and drinking prune juice, calling the
that was
defense.
a terrible
That's
decision
fair, but
by him.
why would he want to abandon Terry if Terry the one who really got him? You
Yeah.
feel me?
It could have been just like this because Coach Brandon said it and Coach McGriffin said it on the show. And we'll ask Mike Smith when Mike one day. But I just look at it like this, man. It's one of those situations where it might have not even been his call because, as they said before, they knew that they were going to hire Raheem Morris. They already knew that because Terry and Raheem had already been in cahoots long time ago because Raheem was going to leave anyway.
Well, hold up, Ryan. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. They released the rights.
I got something for that. Hold on.
They held his rights. They wasn't gonna let
They held his rights until
they held him. And
they
then 2
held
weeks
his
later,
rights. They held
2
his
weeks
rights
later, they released
until
it.
they talked the bill on the boat.
I'm coming. I'm coming in the hat
bill
right now.
on
I'm
the
coming in
boat,
the camo
they
hat. Pray for me.
released-
Don't hate on me right now because I'm getting ready
They
to come with it.
released him
What's up?
after that. And that's when they thought they was going to have Bill until that infamous meeting with everyone. And then, hey, let's go. Mortal Kombat. Let's go.
Well, here's the thing. They were talking to Bill. But think about it. That was an Arthur Blank move that was going on. Even
Exactly.
Miles Garrett confirmed it, and so did Daniel Flick. They both confirmed it on here.
Yeah.
And you saw that. They said that was Arthur Blank.
Oh, yeah, that
Terry
definitely was Arthur
Fontenot
Blank.
had already been talking to Raheem Morris. Now they reported this afterwards. This was
so you're saying that Arthur
I don't think they ever acknowledged that because that's tampering. So
but think about it though. You know they're not going to acknowledge it because they don't want to get hit for tampering. We all know everybody tamper.
So you saying the Raheem and Terry conversations were told to Ryan Nielsen? I don't think that was.
Hold up. Now let me get in this. Ask this question. Let me ask this question. Okay. Bill Belichick, when he came here, as you all said, this was an Arthur Blank move because Arthur Blank wanted to at least interview Bill Belichick. Now, as I made clear on many different occasions, this was the most qualified man that's ever been out of a job to apply for a job. Was Bill Belichick.
Right.
Okay. That press conference where they didn't have Terry Fontenot, Greg Beatles, and they fired Arthur Smith, and they said that they really minimized them to the point of absurdity as far as what they were actually doing, because from what we gathered out of the press conference, Rich McKay was still pulling the strings for the Atlanta Falcons.
Facts on facts.
Now, I'm just trying to drive down a path here, because the thing is that even though Terry Fontenot wanted Raheem Morris and all of this, was his voice strong enough prior to that press conference as well as after that press conference to be able to make that call? And my instincts,
John,
and based on
let me tell you
we
what
saw, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Voice, let's put it this way. So that first press conference, no, I guarantee you that there was a meeting that no one knows about that he had to go to the office and he had to sit back and he actually had to have that meeting and tell Arthur Blank and Rich McKay, hey, this is just what it is. I just got y'all out of salary cap hell, broke you away from those contracts you had. I was able to put together a top 10 defense with the #1 red zone defense in the NFL. Now, I've done this within the 3 years I've been here. Now, what I'm gonna need from you is to allow me to earn my paycheck and actually start being able to work. Period. And I believe that conversation was had because if you notice the next press conference, Terry was right there running the show. But John,
yes,
behind
yeah,
closed
you're right.
doors,
You're right.
Terry, and here's the
After
thing.
Bill Belichick left,
But here's
because
the
dropped
thing.
it on the table.
But think about it.
see,
He was
this
going.
this
Arthur
is
Blank was about to lose. This is what people don't know. And I'm not. I'll confirm this, but I'm not gonna say what source put it out there.
Okay.
I'll confirm it because you know I'm not lying if I'm telling you this. So the source is a very credible source that actually said he was getting ready to lose that staff. He was getting ready to lose a lot of some people in the front office, and he was getting ready to lose guys that were running the shots with scouting and all kinds of like everybody was gonna leave if Belichick came there.
Oh, I knew that.
okay.
And no, I'm just telling you, everybody was gonna leave.
Right,
But Terry
right,
already
okay.
had told.
Okay.
Here's the thing I'm gonna confirm for you. Terry already said I got my head coach in mind who I want. Terry already told him that. So that coaching was already talked to, but they said, hey, we already got the coach, and the person who, the reliable source will name nameless, or shall remain nameless, said, we already got a coach, it just got to be announced. They already had everything in the works.
But my problem,
Belichick. They just entertained him.
Okay. Now, see, this is the thing. Would Belichick have even cared?
No, he wouldn't.
Because the reason why I'm saying this, okay, Larry, you remember me asking this question. Were the Atlanta Falcons interviewing Bill Belichick, or was Bill Belichick interviewing the Atlanta Falcons?
I think at first he was interviewing Arthur Blank. That's why he had a private meeting with them, initially with himself. I 100% believe you, Ryan. I'm pretty sure that everybody's gonna walk out when he came, because they wasn't gonna be needed anyway. Because Bill Belichick was gonna bring everybody from his old secretary to everybody else. I mean, it was gonna be.
And that's what they were afraid of.
And I think Arthur Blank,
it was going to be a mass exodus.
Yeah, it was.
It was going to be.
It wasn't just because of Belichick, but people did not
Ryan,
work with Belichick.
Yeah, I know.
Ryan, it was going to be a core dump. It was going to be a core dump.
It was going to be a full rebuild.
Yes.
But Larry, I want to ask you this now. Just think about it. Now, we already got hit for tampering. They're already trying to hit us for tampering because Kirk just talked to a manager. Y'all really don't just sit back and think about this.
Oh, I know.
You guys really don't think that those brothers was networking way before that short period of time.
Oh, yeah.
Coaches breakfast, GM breakfast, they was always talking to each other.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, they did it. Think about it. They did it legally. They did it legally when they did it.
I'm going to be honest. I think Terry wanted, if Terry would have got here first, I think Raheem would have been
here too.
You know what I'm saying? I promise you, this wasn't, I just talked to him a few months in advance or whatever, or after they said we're going to fire him. I feel like he wanted Raheem, and Arthur Blank wanted Arthur Smith.
This started 3 years ago.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody kept telling me, you think Terry didn't know? Terry didn't want no damn Arthur Smith. That's why look how the team was built.
They hired
look at the draft.
Well, they hired Terry.
That's what I'm saying.
And see that, and in that press conference, when the hierarchy was explained to us as to who was the man, really, who was the man. This was the same mess that when what's his name, Dimitrov, had 6 other general managers with him. The hierarchy was messed up ever since then. You had Scott Pioli, who Dimitrov used to work for, was a GM. You had Dimitrov. You had the head coach had a piece of the GM pie. I mean, it was just a mess. And for you to have, for you to do, just like you said, Ryan, about being the experimental proving ground places, things of that sort, where we interviewing everybody, we got anybody that just graduated out of high school or got off the French fry machine at McDonald's. You want to make that person somebody worthy of note in an organization where you're trying to rebuild from what you had. You sitting up here mixing dynamite and Clorox in an environment where you had no business doing so, because see, you're trying to get back to where you were in 2016.
That's dangerous. Don't do that.
That's what we did. And
That's dangerous.
look,
Don't do that.
look what we did. And see, we were doing it for 3 straight years. We did it for 3 straight years.
But that's been the whole problem when you talk about it. And the problem is when you experiment like that, if you're going to experiment, you need to bring somebody in that's not a first-time head coach.
Right.
True.
If you're going to experiment, you got to bring somebody in that understands how to win football games. And they've got to not just win in football games, they have to understand how to manage people.
We did
Yep.
that twice.
You have to understand how to manage people. A lot of those players didn't like Arthur Smith.
Nope.
You can tell. A lot of them cats didn't like him. Calvin Ridley, think about it. Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones is the first ones. I hate to say it that way, but let's just look at what happened with everything that transpired. You notice, we all know Julio was breaking down, but you know Julio would give you his all, even when he was hurt. He stopped doing that with Arthur Smith. Calvin Ridley didn't like being called out in publicly like Arthur Smith did him. I'm like, that's one of the guys that was supposed to be one of the leaders of your team. My thing is, you don't call him out in the newspaper. You pull him in the office away from the team and you say what you got to say. It's a way that you handle your leader. Everybody should not know what in-house stuff is.
Now, I agree and I disagree with that point, right? Because as a coach, if you're going to be able to discipline your team, you have to be able to call out your main guy.
It depends on when it is, though, Cam. That was too early in the season to do that, Cam.
But at the same time, I definitely agree with what you're saying, because you do definitely want to take him quietly and privately and have that conversation. But at the time, Arthur Smith, for one, was a 1-year offensive coordinator before he got a head coaching job. So you didn't have the pedigree to be able to go out there and say, hey, this guy's not doing blah, 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 blah. You don't have that pedigree. You don't have that legacy to be able to do that. If it was Bill Belichick,
Bill Parcells, who was notorious for
somebody like that, you can do that because you have the experience, you have the leadership, you have that.
You have a resume.
You dragging rings.
You have a resume to do that. No one,
even
no
if you
one
weren't
really
dragging
knew
rings, if you were a
Arthur Smith
successful coach that could win, John, think about it. Marty Schottenheimer, everybody gives him grief, but I tell people I hate the fact that he never could win the big game, just like Dennis Green. All these guys had resumes to where they could call out guys. I'm gonna give you this. Go back to the 1985 Cleveland Browns season when he started coaching. Outside of him being an assistant, first off, he was a former player in the old AFL. And he said the thing that got him over as a coach is one play at a time. He said there was a play with Joe Namath, bad knees and all, shook him out of his shoes. He talked about it on his football life. And he said it pissed me off and I got so frustrated, I messed it up the next 3 plays and we gave up a touchdown. He said I had to understand, not even just with football, but with life, it has to be one play at a time, one moment at a time. And that was what got him there, because he was a patient but demanding type teacher, where you had, like, look at who he had in his secondary. I'm just going, matter of fact, and I even go offense. He had Millersville Georgia's on Ernest Biner in that backfield. Ernest Biner was a solid player. Anybody that knows about him knows he unfortunately will always be linked to that fumble, even though he won a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins. But Ernest Biner was a guy that he had to work with. Bernie Kosar, he had to work with the kid. And you think about it, they went to 3 straight AFC championship games and got knocked out all 3 times. And you look at everything he went through. And he was a first-year coach going to the play. I'm sorry, second-year coach going to the playoffs. And then consistently going. Then he gets fired, goes to Kansas City, turns that team around and turns them into a playoff team. And then does it in San Diego. You got to have coaches that not only can call you out, but they've been in games to where they've won playoff games, where they have credibility and they have the credentials. You don't always have to have rings, because Marty Schottenheimer and Dennis Green are 2 of the most respected coaches that could never win the big game. You know, we had. I'll be honest with you. If we don't beat the Vikings in 1998, they slaughtered the Denver Broncos in that Super Bowl because they had nobody that could run with that wide receiver core at all. So, what do y'all think? Like, and even in the panel, I want to. Not the panel. I'm sorry. Even in the chat where we got people just watching, what do you guys think? Do you think that a coach can have no rings, but has a resume, and they will be able to call out guys like Arthur Smith did Calvin Ridley last year? And do you think Raheem Morris would be able to have that type of credibility to call guys out in the media if something happened this year?
Absolutely.
Now, well, see, thing is, Raheem Morris, he got some hardware
as an assistant. We talking about,
but see, that's what I'm saying. Rings. Well, see, I'm gonna say it from my standpoint. If you've been in a Super Bowl, whether you are a player, whether you are an assistant, or whether you are a head coach, you know the dedication, the determination, the work, the stress, the strain it takes to get to that Super Bowl and win it. Okay, you do know something about that. You have that on your resume. If you are a head coach who led those men, it's even more so because of the fact that you were the driver. You were the one, like Parcells used to break people down and said, this is the reason y'all lift all them weights. This is the reason why you run like you run. This is the reason why I work you like I work you. Because Larry will tell you, and Ryan, I be going I be going crazy about stuff that happens in practice that Dan Quinn just used to let go.
Yeah.
Didn't say nothing about. Now, one thing that I did like about Arthur Smith, is the fact that Arthur Smith insisted that you get it right in practice because you practice how you play. My coaches, my coaches, basketball, football, whatever it was that I was doing, they emphasize getting it down in practice so that it becomes second nature to you out there on the field. When you getting tired, when you don't feel like doing it no more, you just automatically revert to a good habit instead of reverting to a bad habit. Because
it's you with this, John, because there are guys who suck at practice, but they're gamers. I'm gonna give y'all. It's a Hall of Fame player, one of the greatest pass rushers of all time. That's right up there with Lawrence Taylor, and he gets forgotten. Derek Thomas. Everybody said it. Bill Cowher. Think about it. Bill Cowher was on that Kansas City staff when they got him. Because remember, Bill Cowher was with Marty Schottenheimer in Cleveland as an assistant, then Kansas City before he went to Pittsburgh. And they all said it. He was always late to meetings. He was late to everything. He didn't work hard in practice. He pissed a lot of them guys off. They try to run and do everything they could to him, but they said you could never tire him out. And he just smiled and just say, I've been running my whole life. What make you think you're gonna be able to tire me out? And he sucked at practice. Even his own teammates said it. But when game day came around, all you saw was that Superman S come off his chest, and he dominated games by himself.
Yeah.
So you got guys that are not great practice players, John, but when they get on the field, good God.
Yeah, now you have exceptions. I always make allowance for exceptions.
No, I'm just saying, but I had to counter your point because I agree
with you. No problem.
But you got guys that suck at practice, but when game time come around, they hell on wheels.
Because see, Maxwell up there with Boston used to drive Larry Bird crazy about the fact that he didn't even practice. But when game time came, he was ready. But see, the thing is, what you would have to do, the old cornbread. But my thing is,
hey, Larry, I feel your pain while you're shaking your head because that darn bunch in Boston was a problem for the Hawks. We could never get past them. So you just brought that bad memories, John.
You can't fight the refs. You can't fight a non-air conditioned facility, and you can't fight dead spots on the floor where the home team know where they at.
And you can't fight Cliff Levison getting out his body and taking.
Oh man, here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Here in Atlanta.
You should have won that game. It's over.
Should have had him
I
here.
told me it should have got us in 6.
Yeah.
Should have had him here. Oh, hey man, we should have had him. Should have had him. And Cliff let boy. And then he went and won a ring with Chicago.
He won a few with Chicago.
It's going down.
But check it, like
shoot the ball.
the one thing that you said, Ryan, as far as Raheem being able to call out players, let's look at Raheem's track record. As a 35-year-old man, he was thrown into a situation where he was set up to fail. He was set up to fail from jump.
At 33, he was 33, but
I excuse me, 33
in Tampa Bay. Yeah,
so
when they gave him the job in Tampa Bay.
He was a 33-year-old African American man thrown into a situation where he was expected to fail.
Yep.
Then he moved over to so after that he moved over to if I'm correct,
defensive.
The defensive coordinator for I want to say Washington. I'm not sure though.
He was
Washington. He learned there. Then he came to Atlanta. He learned here. He went to then he goes to the Rams. And he learns that everywhere he's gone, he added another notch to that layer of experience, panache, and everything else that comes with it. So he's lost on the biggest way. He's been fired. He's come back. He's learned. But most importantly, he's won. So when you are someone who has had that long list of history where you were brought in to be the main person, and you only won a handful of games, you get fired, you come back, become one of the best DCs in the league. You get fired again. Then you go to LA. You help them. You're the main guy. You're calling the plays as the DC. Your defense wins you a championship. And now you come here. Now I can talk to you man to man, physically, one-on-one, and tell you, hey, I did this. I did this. This happened to me. I can talk to you now. Because if me, you, and Larry, if I'm gonna use my own team right now. I'm the head coach out of high school. Before I got there last year, that school had only won 2 games in 12 years. 2. I won 10 in my first season.
Yep.
Why? Because I listened to the people that I brought in. I allowed them to do their job. I'm not someone who I'm not the prototypical micromanager. If I brought you in to coach the offense, damn it, coach the offense. That's your job. I'm coaching the defense. That is my job. But guess what? I also had an assistant DC who called the plays on Friday nights. I just sat there and looked good. That was my job. To be there Friday night and look good and make sure there was no fights.
You pretty much like, bro, you pretty much, being a head coach is like being the president or a CEO of a company. Guess what? Your job is to sit there, like you said, collect the paychecks, and you let everybody else do the heavy lifting. And your job is just to talk to the media. Man,
Monday through Thursday, I'm in the trenches with each one of those guys. I'm going to go toe-to-toe with the D-line. I'm going to go toe-to-toe with the receivers. I'm going to go toe-to-toe with the corners. I'm going to go toe-to-toe with every grouping that I have on this team. Because if I show them that I'm willing to get dirty with you, I'm going to expect you to do the same thing on Friday night. And I'm older than you with a whole bunch of injuries. So when you have a Bill Belichick, a Marty Schottenheimer, an Andy Reid, those are guys who have been in the game for so long. They've succeeded, they failed, they've come back, they reinvented themselves. But when
I was getting ready to touch on something that you said.
When you have someone like an Arthur Smith who doesn't really know anything, you were given a playbook by your coach. And then you turned around and took the playbook that you truly don't even know, and then now you're the main man for a professional team. You don't know what you're seeing on the field, and why would you give your quarterback, who's already having issues, taking in information, and you giving him 3 plays to call where the grouping is not even right for some of those calls? So a lot of what Desmond Ridder went through, some of it was on him.
Yeah.
But a good portion of it does go to the coaching staff, because why are you giving him multiple multiple play calls with not the right grouping to come with it. So
or limited,
it's a lot
or
of
remember,
things
or
that just
having a
come with it
wide
as a coach.
receiver coaching quarterbacks at that time. So I'm gonna say this here because we gotta get ready to wrap up in a few. Um, Coach, one of the coaches that we had, he's a legendary Hall of Fame coach that we had on the show, HBCU legend. Shout out to Coach William Hayes, aka Wild Bill, Coach Bill Hayes. 2 national championships, and first black coach in the ACC at Wake Forest, his running back coach. And we talked to him, and I talked to him recently, and he said hands down, he said even Bill Belichick ain't above it because he's been one of those coaches where he goes to these clinics still, even though he's retired, he still talks to a lot of college coaches and then a lot of NFL coaches. He said, here's a few things I'm gonna put out here for you guys. The problem with young coaches right now, they don't want to ask the older coaches, and they're not humble enough to ask, what did you guys do in certain situations? What does it take to be able to manage this situation? Or if it's not an on the field situation, it's an off the field situation. These young guys, and it's just the generation of people, not coaches, the generation of people, as Coach Hayes put it. A lot of younger folks don't want to talk to older folks, and they've already been around the block 2 or 3 times. And y'all are just starting your life, or you're just starting your career. When you have legendary coaches, and it doesn't matter on what level it is, you learn how to humble yourself and learn from these guys. No one wants to ask questions because they want to be the smartest guy in the room. But the way you become the smartest guy in the room is you asking the guy that was already successful on how to get to that next level. That is how you become successful. You don't have to copy the whole blueprint. You take some of the things that they've done and you add your own twist to it, and you learn from everybody what good to do, what bad not to do, so you can put yourself in a better situation to become more successful. And he said the other thing is 2 types of coaches that's getting fired, and coaches, I'm sorry, he says 3 types of coaches that get fired, coaches that are trying to maintain a job, and then the coaches that's looking for a job. Those are the 3 professions you have as a coach, whether you're an assistant, whether you're a head coach, whether you're pretty much a coordinator. It's just what it is. So in this situation, these younger coaches have to start leaning on these older coaches, because when you talk about some of the knowledge and some of the wisdom that these people have, it's dying with them. So, all I say is this. Whether, and I'm gonna throw this in here to everybody that's in the chat that's here with us or just on the panel. And this isn't just football. I'm speaking life right now because we always dropping gems in here for everybody because we don't know what you're going through. Because some of us might be going through a little something you don't know. But here's the thing. In the life that we live right now, the way that you can become more successful is leaning on people who are successful. And the way that you lean on them, you ask them questions. And if you're not humble enough to ask those questions, you're pretty much going to always be left behind. Like, look, this podcast is lovely, but I'm not the greatest at it. I'm humble enough to say that. I'm learning still. I still learn stuff on the fly. Larry sometimes doesn't even realize it, but when I watch his show, it's not stealing. And I'll ask him questions because guess what? I want to know certain things because it's something that you might know, Larry, that you're teaching me. You know what I mean? And I'm just using that as an example. Just humble yourselves to learn from other people, because if you can learn from other people, you'll become more successful in life. I know I run my mouth because I enjoy talking football with you guys and talking to the fans. But here's the thing. I might not seem like it, but I got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I listen a hell of a lot more than I talk. So that's hard to believe, but trust me, I do. And Cam can vouch for that. So at the end of the day, until these coaches learn how to ask these older coaches that was already been there, done that, they're going to continue to keep making the same mistakes. So with that being said, we definitely appreciate you guys for sitting down at the table with us, eating some of this good old soul food. The magnificent BirdCage crew. I appreciate you guys for coming in. Graybeard, K-Dub, Coach Cam. Larry, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, you can find me right here. Yeah.
Larry and the Dixon Way. Y'all check him out
underscore
on YouTube, man.
Underscore way. But
Check.
thank you for letting me come on, talk my talk, man. Appreciate all you brothers putting on some good content. John always supporting everybody. Make sure you go to the eye test. Y'all show gonna be on Wednesday. John, y'all doing one this Wednesday? You gonna be on?
We will definitely be on Wednesday, and everybody's invited to come in. And echoing something that Ryan said, old man said a long time ago, those who don't learn from history are destined to repeat it. So,
pretty much.
I'm, shoot, I learned how to play basketball playing with old folk because they might not have the physical skills, but them tricks, woo-wee, them tricks, man, they something else. They're
The
definitely
day I
something else.
stop learning, you might well go ahead and drop my casket.
Oh man, so here's the other thing that we got, man. And outside of the show today, we got to give a shout out to one of the legendary groups of Atlanta of all time. I got one of the albums in the back mixed in with the collage. Shout out to the Goody Mob. Today, 26 years, still standing drop. April the 7th, 1994. So if anybody remembers that album, that's one of the legendary albums that set it on fire.
Yeah.
So shout out to those boys over there. Mays High alum. You know how they go, how they get down over there in the SWATs, baby. That's what we do. I gotta put my chest out. That's
also one thing. Somebody, Larry Baytall passed recently. He was one of our offensive line coaches back 85 to 86 here in Atlanta. With what was that, Dan Henning? It might have been with Dan Henning or whatever. When they brought that H back down here, and him and that Jim Hannafin, man.
Jim.
Oh my goodness, man! That I've never seen a person use every word in a sentence with a cuss word in front of it and behind it talking about it. Because that doggone that Jim Hannafin was a cusser, but he was a heck of an offensive line coach. But R.I.P. Mr. Baytall, appreciate what you did.
Definitely appreciate you coming on, man. So y'all already know how we get down. You either get right or you get left. Thursdays at 8:00. We got a special guest coming into the building. Like I said, I'll probably end up telling you guys on Wednesday, but I'm gonna let you guys wonder. But just know that definitely got a good one coming in on Thursday. So John, you make sure that you slide through, because I think you might find that one to be a little entertaining, my brother. And
no
Larry,
problem.
if you ain't calling no games or whatnot.
I'm calling the game, man. I ain't got an off day until next week. So
all right, hey, it is what it is, man.
I got a game every day, sometimes two.
Man, you already know. Well, I'm gonna be in it. I'm gonna be up on the Dixon Way, sitting there cheering it on, bro. I love your commentary, dog. But again, thank y'all for coming through. We love y'all. We wanted to share a little soul food plate with y'all because we're gonna have a guest and not the typical show. That's why we did this today. I'm sorry if it was such late notification, but I appreciate you guys taking the sacrifice. And for those who are in the chat and leaving, please go ahead and hit that like button going out. And for those who are looking at this on a playback, go ahead and hit that like button for us. It's never too late to hit that like button. Always hit the like button for us. But
Ryan, one question before we get up out of here. When you think about old videos, and we saw somebody in some big balloon pants, and they were talking about take that. That takes a different meaning now, right?
Larry, I don't need you coming on here putting I'm gonna go back to hold on. I got to go to my. I got to get like Morris Day, like he did in Purple Rain when he talked to my boy Jerome Benton. I think I'm gonna need a drink.
Oh no.
Take that.
That takes on a whole new meaning, and we ain't gonna get into that. We gonna let the people wonder about it. Listen, if y'all have any questions, comments, or concerns, if you are the part of the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the local police department, that came from Larry the Dixon way.
No, it didn't.
The BirdCage LLC and its affiliates have nothing to do with that comment. That is all
I
Larry.
didn't say nothing about nothing. I just asked about a rap lyric.
Oh man.
That's y'all
Again,
dirty mind.
hey, again,
Not
that
ask
right.
like
Look,
that.
again, you gonna get us flagged for that one, but that's all on the Dixon way. But all I'm gonna say is this: it do take on a whole new meaning now.
Oh man.
I just know I don't say it.
I ain't laughed that long in a minute. Oh my
Yes,
god.
sir. See, Larry, we trying to get up out of here. You about to start some mess, dog. Look,
I ain't started nothing. That's John made me do that.
John ain't say nothing. Man, that's just, man, John didn't even say nothing, man. That's like you trying to slide a dollar bill up under Clint Capella's foot trying to dunk. You trying to get John to jump. He ain't even jumping.
Larry.
Oh.
That wasn't that Vulcan mind meld over there. Because see, I didn't even do it. I didn't even do it.
Hey, man, we got to get out of here, man. Y'all check this out on Thursday. Hey, also, we'll have a little something backstage or whatnot. If y'all want to join in, we'll leave a link out there. But if not, it's all good. Hey, it's the BirdCage. We out, baby.